I've noticed a trend of people asking similar questions in the Q&A videos, so today I'm going to show you 8 quick and easy tips to help you quickly find and toss your worst runes. First tip, and the easiest, but still some casual and returning players don't know about it, is if you're farming and you fall asleep or exit the game without sorting out the runes, you can sort your most recent runes by clicking the Manage button in your monster menu and sorting by obtained. All of your newer acquired runes that you got and forgot about will be at the top, and 80+% of them will be bad and need to be tossed. Clear out anything white or green, anything below 5 stars, without even giving them a second glance. Tip number 2, for any 5-star runes or blue runes, you'll want to sell most of them, with a few exceptions that you can make if you're early or mid-game. For 5-star legend runes and 6-star blue runes, you'll basically just want to roll for speed, and if you get multiple rolls into speed, you can consider keeping it, like this rune right here. If it rolls high speed rolls twice, I may consider keeping it since it's my ult, but anything less, I'm gonna toss it. You can also consider keeping them if they look like this one right here. It's blue, but all the stats work together. We have an attack primary stat. We also have crit rate and crit damage. This would be great for a Fat Lucian, which is slow, but you boost it up with a Light Garuda or a Water Garuda. It would also work well for Belager, the Fire Lightning Emperor, in R5. Generally, I only consider keeping blue runes if they're high speed or have attack, crit rate, and crit damage together on a slot 2, slot 4, or slot 6 rune. Tip number 3, in the Rune Manager, highlight the slot 2, slot 4, and slot 6 runes and choose main property of flat HP. Remember, this is flat HP, not HP percentage. All the runes you find here are trash for the most part, unless they have a speed sub, in which case you upgrade it to see if it rolls speed multiple times. This only applies to slot 4 and slot 6 though, since slot 2 you always want speed main stat if you want speed on a unit. Repeat the same for flat defense and flat attack, but only on slot 2, 4, 6, as shown. This rune right here is flat defense, but it has a fat speed sub, and also it's on Swift, so we can keep this for a fast attack bar booster like Bernard or Camilla. The same principle applies to resistance on slot 6. It's usually useless unless it's very stat efficient with speed, HP percentage, and defense percentage on something like Violent or Will for a tanky cleanser unit, but it still needs to make up for that lack of HP percentage in substats in the other runes. Tip number 4, back in the obtained drop-down menu, you can scroll all the way to the bottom to find your oldest runes. Usually your oldest runes will be bad and from the beginning of the game, so most of them have less overall stat value. Like, for example, this 5-star rune, this must have been from the beginning of the account. We have much better stuff now, so we can definitely toss this, and it should have been gone a long time ago. Tip number 5, another thing you can do is sort by default grade. Personally, I like to do this slot by slot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 by 1. The runes you find at the top will have the most rune efficiency, and the bottom will have the least rune efficiency. The top doesn't necessarily mean they are the best runes, it just means they're more efficient from a statistics standpoint. The ones lower on the list are better candidates for being purged. Tip number 6, and something I personally do, is I am harsher on non-meta runes, especially energy, guard, and endure. So they have to give me a lot of stats and usually a lot of speed for me to want to actually keep them. I'm much more forgiving with meta rune sets like Violent and Will, since so many units use them, and I'm willing to accept a little bit less rune quality on them. I'm not saying this so you can keep all the Violent runes you ever get, I'm saying this so you can more aggressively purge the mediocre energy, guard, and endure runes. Tip number 7, there are a lot of runes that you'll accumulate, like I mentioned in the beginning, that you'll want to roll for speed and might not care about them otherwise. Often when you're using auto farm, you'll save these runes for later and not upgrade them immediately as you get them, and sometimes you'll forget about them. To find these runes, I like to sort by power-up level, click sub-property of speed, and scroll to the bottom. There you'll find all the things that need to be rolled for speed and potentially tossed. Tip number 8 is that some runes almost always need high speed. The king of these rune sets is Swift, which basically you almost always use when you want to take turn 1. Others include Despair, Violent, and Focus. There are, however, always exceptions to the rule. For example, you can put Despair on the Fire Lich, who steals turns randomly, and he doesn't need to be blazingly fast, he just needs a lot of stat efficiency and value. You can also put Swift on Stella the Water Assassin, Legmar the Wind Chimera, and Hua the Fire Rakshasa, among others, because these units do damage based on their attack speed, but they don't need to be 300 speed like your swift attack bar boosters like Bernard and Kabila. It's more about them having a combination of speed, crit rate, crit damage, and attack. So they benefit from speed, yes, but it's better to have them runed with all the stats mentioned in valuable amounts instead of just super speed with very little other stats. There's still a lot more to learn in terms of nuances, since there's many different monsters in the game and some strange rune combinations and stat combinations can still be useful on a few things, but this should give you some good pointers and tips for finding less valuable things to clear out. So that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you as always in the next one.